Hi everyone, Charles Whitty here again on a Friday evening. Cardinal Reinhard Marx at yesterday's meeting with the Munich Press Club said that Pope Francis is open to discussing Catholic sexual morality. I see that he is not so fixed here in this matter, Marx stated. The root cause of the sexual abuse crisis, he adds, is not homosexuality, but an abuse of power. Hey boy. Cardinal Gerhard Mueller, however, told LifeSite News in response to Marx's comments that it is clear that these abuse crimes are being instrumentalized in order to promote another agenda. Ideologies, Mueller added, shut themselves off from facts that do not fit into their worldview. According to different media outlets, Cardinal Marx, the head of the German bishops, spoke on December 20th at the Munich Press Club. In his initial comments, he made it clear that he wishes that the German bishops would soon address three major points in light of this year's sex abuse crisis. These are the Church's sexual morality, the question of celibacy, and third, the abuse of power. As Marx explains, the Church has so far only spoken about sexuality in an odd and touchy way, and now she needs to speak about sexuality in a different manner, also about homosexuality. As you know, this is highly controversial, Marx added, also theologically and dogmatically. We have to address it, he said. How do we not yet fully know? In Marx's eyes, to silence it does not work anymore. While admitting that it will be difficult to discuss this matter and come to a consensus on the level of the universal church, Cardinal Marx later explained that Pope Francis himself is open to such a discussion about Catholic sexual morality. I see that he is not so fixed here in this matter, he stated. The German cardinal also revealed that he has already spoken several times with the Pope about this topic. During his speech, Marx stressed that Pope Francis sees the main cause of sexual abuse to be the abuse of power. He also indicated that this understanding will be the direction to be taken during the upcoming three-day Rome gathering in February 2019. Well, I'm going to stop right here. There's an abuse of power, at play here. I don't think anyone denies that. But, where is the fundamental impetus behind all this? And that's, the homosexual urge by the male priest. Where else does it come from? It doesn't just come from abusing power. Now, think about this for a minute. Now, how often do we hear of women coming forward and saying, my priest abused his power and I felt I was forced into a sexual relationship with him? After all these men who have been abused over decades have come forward, all these thousands of cases, you would think that women who were in the same situation heterosexually would start coming forward and start saying, hey, you know what? My priest abused his power, and I felt I was forced into a sexual relationship. We don't really hear anything about women coming forward at all. So, to say this is not homosexuality is not the underlying cause of all this is just, seems to me to be totally ridiculous. All right, I'm going to read a little more here. Further discussing the problem of clerical sexual abuse, Cardinal Marx rejects the claim that there is a link between homosexuality and clerical abuse. Unbelievable. He said that he is worried about forces who think that if we had no homosexual priests anymore, the whole abuse problem would be solved. Well, I mean, not totally. I mean, there's always going to be some amount of abuse on a sexual level. But see, what he's driving at in the rest of the article is that, well, we just need, need to get back to getting rid of celibacy, and let priests have relationships, sexual relationships with whoever they choose. Priests with a homosexual inclination, Marx explained, do not endanger others more than heterosexually inclined priests when it comes to clerical abuse. Wow. Boy. Concerning celibacy, Cardinal Marx explained that this form of living on the part of priests is often now being perceived by people as being itself the cause of crankiness of the priests in general. While pointing to himself as an example of someone who can live in celibacy, he wonders what future celibacy can now have. See, so we're going to drive at this. Describing how he discussed with Pope Francis the problem of the abuse crisis during the C9 meeting in Rome, Cardinal Marx explained that the Pope, too, sees that the abuse of power is the problem. The solution, therefore, again, they're not looking at the root cause. They just refuse to admit it. The solution, therefore, is a sharing of power. Here, we got the solution. See, the solution is not the root cause of the problem. It's they're trying to convince us that abuse of power is the root cause of the problem, and homosexuality is like a symptom. Okay, and it's exactly what the whatchamacallit does, what the devil does. See, he's got them flipped around. See, abuse of power is really the result of what's causing the whole problem, which is homosexuality. But the devil flips that over, okay? And this is very common. We've seen this a million times. The solution, therefore, is a sharing of power. Right, yeah, right. So he wants to treat the result, all right? And which is what, humanity has been doing that forever, They never really want to get down to the cause of something. They always want to treat the result of it. And so, that's why we still have murders and guns and, technology does exactly the same thing. They're always using more technology to fix a result of something, but they never go back to what the cause is. All right, what the fundamental cause is. All right, so Marx also indicated that he can very well picture that lay people will in the future become the prefects of some of the Roman dicasteries. Cardinal Marx also pointed out that crises are opportunities, the old game, but that one also has to make good use of them. All right, now here's something else going on here. Marx's colleague, the vice president of the German Bishops' Conference, Bishop Franz Josef Bode, also made a public statement on December 20th, claiming that celibacy is indirectly also responsible for the clerical sex abuse crisis, and proposed that the church should value homosexual relationships. Well, I mean, there will always be priests, some small number. I mean, there always has been, but this is part of being a priest. You're married to Christ and you give your life to him in service to, the flock that he gives you in your parish. Well, in light of these reform plans as presented by Cardinal Marx, with Pope Francis in the background, Cardinal Gerhard Mueller, the former prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, has sent LifeSite News, upon request, some contrasting comments. All right, so this is a long, long article, so you could, read more about it, But, you could just see, they don't want to deal with the problem. They're looking at a result that they want to say that's the cause. And I just think they're just totally wrong, and they're not going to get anywhere. But they're going to use this argument to put forth doing away with celibacy. I mean, that's what I think. But, you can let me know what you think with your comments. Okay, well, I've really read quite a bit of this here. So we're just going to leave it at that. And we'll talk to you, I hope not later, but maybe tomorrow. Bye.